Welcome to my biofuel project, Solid Biofuels by Annabella Beatty. Background of solid biofuels. Solid biofuels are non-fossil organic materials that can be burned to produce energy. We can heat, cook, and really fuel anything with solid biofuels. Examples of solid biofuels would be wood, crops, hemp, straw, animal, and waste from animals. A fun fact, solid biofuels have been on this earth helping man since day one, campfires, cooking over fire. Some downfalls of solid biofuels, they cause deforestation, they have high CO2 emissions. Some great things about solid biofuels can immediately be used, and they are the most efficient of all biomass power. Where solid biofuel is produced, solid biofuel is produced on plantations and forestries. These plantations produce crops which are called energy crops. So again, that would be giant reed, switchgrass, hemp grass, a whole bunch of other things that burn super well. Forestries, they're growing these very quick to grow pine trees. So they're growing them, chopping them down, burning them. We can also get sources of solid biofuel from urban sites. For instance, at the end of construction sites, you have a whole bunch of leftover wood. We can take that, turn that into new energy. So how do we get the energy from this biofuel? We could burn it. It could be turned directly into power. We could high heat breakdown. We could turn solids into liquid or gas. And then we have gasification using oxygen or steam to produce a gas called synthesis gas. This is how steamboats work. The development of solid biofuel. Humans first used wood as firewood for cooking, heating, simple basic forms of energy use. During industrialization, the steamboat, great invention, solid biofuel was used to power those boats. Later on, fossil fuels, natural gases took over, became more popular and became more efficient, and they were even cheaper. But now, with concern of climate change, wood has been pushed back into the equation. New technologies have been created, like wood pellets. It creates more energy with lower CO2 emissions. Even now, there's current research being done into turning wood into ethanol and diesel fuel. The impact of solid biofuel, the carbon footprint. During deforestation, which we have to do to cut down a big source of solid biofuel, which is wood, we cut down all these forests and CO2 is released. In small cases, you could have plants performing photosynthesis, which would absorb the excess CO2 in the area. But if you're doing this on a large scale, there's too much CO2 being released. So it actually has the potential to become carbon neutral, but not if it's done unsustainably. So in the end, wood could be putting a negative impact onto the environment. The economic impact, if we begin to research and sustainably use wood as a fuel, job creations could go from 1.1 million by 2030, and we could even increase revenue from 48 billion to 259 billion by the year 2030. Large economic growths can come from this if we do it correctly. The deployment of solid biofuel. Today, it's really used in your chimneys and your campfires. It's not really used on a mass scale, but there are still complexes that do collect heat and harvest energy. But for instance, in the U.S., Georgia was the highest consumer of solid biofuels in 2023. They made 39% of biomass energy using solid biofuels. But it's hard to do that because of the availability of wood. Analysis of biofuel. Solid biofuel definitely does have research to be done on it. It's not perfect because most of the time the cons overtake the pros. But if we learn how to do it correctly and without rushing, releasing all that CO2, we definitely could get it done. So how do we make this more sustainable? we need to do more research, we create more traction on the issue, and we find the correct people to think and engineer these issues. We already know there's research being done converting wood to ethanol and diesel, so we can definitely get there at some point. Here are my citations.